Cool, thanks for the opportunity. My name is Mayank. I work for Accenture Strategy Group. And today we have a flavor of smart home or connected home, I should say, in my presentation, but we have also a flavor of 5G. So how many people here work on 5G as of today? That's great. And how many people work within connected home space? Okay, that's awesome. The one person for both. If I may ask, which company are you from?
Correct.
All right, that's awesome. One of my clients. We work with almost every telco in the country, and even the wireline and wireless telcos, including Verizon, and whoever you could imagine, even MVNOs. We support Verizon in a lot of MVNO opportunities, including Comcast and Charter. So let's talk about that. This is a worldwide state of 5G. Before I get into why 5G is important for connected home, I would like to give a little bit of input into why 5G is important in general. It's getting there. People say that 5G is coming, is 1 year, 5 year, 10 years away. It is a few months and years away, but it's almost happening. In the US, Verizon has launched millimeter wave-based broadband, as we all know, in a few cities, and they're expanding. Verizon does have fiber in some parts of the country. T-Mobile and Sprint just announced a merger. Well, they announced earlier, but now, yes, as of yesterday, it was official. So they are merging together. So that means they'll be getting the best of the mid-band spectrum. Well, that was the reason they were getting merged. And a lot of other countries, like in Europe and China, they are launching 5G-based high-band services. When you talk about high-band services, these are basically, high-speed, low latency kind of services that people want to launch, and 5G has a little more features than we used to have in 4G or 3G spectrum, which I'll go through in a second. So in the US, let's focus on that. Verizon has launched in 11 cities, and the number might have grown since I made this presentation because they're literally doing daily deployments. AT&T is definitely in the lead with 19 cities. T-Mobile launched in 6, but with Sprint is more than 15 already, and they are also launching brand new spectrum, which means your new iPhones and Samsungs and other devices will start supporting new bands coming next year. You'll be able to download gigabit links and 1.2 gigabit link speed data. Today you can get into megabits. So when we look at, as a strategy firm, when we look at these wireless networks, we see them as currencies. When we saw 3G happen in 2004, we saw them grow with unlimited text messages and some paid voice calls that we used to pay 15 years ago. When 4G happened, we saw faster data. And we also saw free internet, which means you don't pay for data anymore. You get into unlimited data packets with a very nominal cost. Why? Because we've fundamentally moved from circuit switch to IP-based networks in 4G. And what we see in 5G is basically a lot more than that. We see high band, low latency, speeds going beyond a gig, which Wi-Fi even doesn't offer at this time. Network slicing, which is basically software-driven core networks that you can grow very quickly that was not possible with 4G. And things like, dedicated slicing of network, that when you go in a situation like a stadium where usually stadium is empty, and when people, when there's a game and there are 50,000 people in there, suddenly your tower becomes very, congested and you lose connections. That normally will not happen with 5G the way it is designed, and I'll go through that in detail, and we can do Q&A in the end. So we can go into so many use cases that 5G can enable. Today with 4G, you cannot use drones as effectively as 5G can. Autonomous vehicles, as everybody knows, robotic process automation, which needs high-speed uplink and low latency, interaction, ultra resolution, immersive entertainment video. I mean, we all do Netflix and Hulu on the phone, but imagine 5 times more data and content and interactive movies that you can, work with, not just one-way watching movies. We are looking at building interactive movies, which means that every scene will be interactive and you could literally interact with the movie. And that's coming. It's coming with time. And typical 4G was not able to access that. Extended reality, we just don't call it VR, AR, we call it XR because we believe it's a mix of all of that in one. People can do training using VR, but then when they put that application in real world, they have to go AR and interact with the real world. So augmentation is much more interesting after coming out of VR. But today, we'll focus on fixed wireless. Because we believe this is something that most of the carriers, most of the operators, most of the MNOs and MSOs are launching, and it will change the game. People get internet at home and they have connected home experience. We believe it'll change the game. So we did some surveys, and this is one of our partners and a BI Intelligence that we work with. We spoke to people, and people don't really know what 5G, 4G is all about. They just know faster speed. They know that they'll get a better connection, things of that nature. But why will they pay us more for that, right? Why will you pay $50 or $100 more a month? What's new to you? So what we figured was, if we were to deploy fixed wireless access, think of this tower on the right that, let's say, Verizon owns, right? We don't have to run fiber to your home anymore. We don't have to dig fiber all the way miles and miles and basically get internet to your home and then give you a little cable modem or a router. What we could just do is a drone can just fly by and install a little small cell on your home and connect to the nearest hotspot that 5G has given based on, for example, Verizon. It can be any carrier. It can even be Comcast for that matter. Connect to the nearest base station, and then you have a gigabit downlink speed. It's as easy as that. And in the past, if you are in a particular neighborhood that gives you Comcast service, you typically cannot go to any other provider because they probably have, monopoly in that neighborhood, and that fiber can only go so long. And nobody else will dig fiber because of legal reasons and, other reasons that we have over here. But fixed wireless is going to change the deployment. So any place where today I don't get internet or I get only satellite internet, I can drop in a small cell which is wireless without digging any fiber, which is a great, it's a cost savings, but it's also enhancing people around the neighborhoods that can get faster internet in wireless. And basically, if you see the top three things, what people told us was, we will pay if the rate is cheaper, if you can discount my wireless service, and if my video streaming services are free. It's $10 a month or $8 a month, but if it's included in your wireless bill and we can make a deal with a video service provider that can we make a better service in this area compared to that area, can you give us a cut? So Verizon's of the world and AT&T's and Comcast, they are in a better position to go negotiate with Netflix for a better rate than us as consumers, right? So they go and say, look, 80% of my consumers are on iPhone 10. They will never consume a 4K video. They will consume a 720p video. Let's understand what we are delivering and bring the cost down for that stream. And then 20% of these people will be on big screen TVs. They only will consume 4K and 1K. So those are deals that we are looking at, right? And till now, those deals have not happened because we don't have that control as of now. So 5G, we believe, will bring those controls to us. Now let's move to connected home. When we say connected home, we don't just say, smart home that all of us think automatically, like the Ring doorbells and Nest thermostats and all that. We believe video is part of connected home. Security is connected home. Home security, data security, cyber attacks, all these parts of the puzzle are types of connected home. The biggest use of home video that we have seen is, the biggest use is video in home. That's what I meant to say. The percentage that you use your internet in home, your broadband, is 80% video and 20% other things. That's nationwide. That's where most of the packets go. Which means that when you can watch a video on TV or your set-top box or even on a computer or a laptop or whatever that is, it's all video. Smart home is growing slowly from the last 8 years. The problem with smart home is that people buy different types of devices. They don't work with each other, and suddenly you have a very fragmented ecosystem. Google doesn't work with Alexa. Alexa doesn't work with Apple, and all that stuff that you already know. That is getting to be more controlled now after 8 years of that. It's not on the slide, but Apple, Google, and Amazon have made a consortium called ConnectedHomeIP.net, and they are working hard to make it a standard so that all the devices can interoperate with each other. So that's why we believe that the opportunity on smart home within the connected home space is literally upwards of $2 billion in coming times. So we have seen this growth. As you can see, smart security services. So one most important thing we have seen in connected home is security. It's because people want to pay for something that they want to be feeling safe about, which is home security. And with that channel, we are able to sell more smart devices. Like if I give you a smart home security system, and you can see, when you're out of the house, you can see a home or a garage or a backyard, and basically be connected to your home even when you're not there, you are more likely to pay me $10, $20 a month to manage a service rather than I ask you $2,000 on day one. So we have seen the service model of smart home has been really successful in security land, because it just feels safer to any customer to buy that pack, right? So penetration and security has grown much higher with smart home. For example, when Ring got bought by Amazon, it was a big deal because now Amazon can securely deliver packets to your garage without you being home. People had a lot of stolen packages, in the past on Amazon. I'm just giving you consumer examples because we can relate to that, end of the day. But there are other, enterprise examples where you go to a manufacturing facility with 100,000 employees. Imagine the kind of security they need, right? And they don't really invest in all these Ring doorbells because they're made for consumers. And when we make them enterprise capable, then what more can you do? You can literally have a video camera right there. If an employee walks into a manufacturing facility without a hard hat, that person might be, vulnerable to any, something falling on the head. So we can find out right away and put alarm up so nobody has to watch it. The camera is watching that person. So we can do things like computer vision on top of those things. So we can do a lot of things. And these things are these capabilities can only come if you have an uplink strong enough to hold that. Wi-Fi is not capable of holding that as of now. So that's why we believe 5G is ready for that. Well, this was a fun slide I wanted to share. It took us about 15 years from the telephone generation to become a smartphone generation. And it literally took us less than 3 years to become a smart speaker generation. So the speed of which we are adopting smart devices without even worrying about that how the device is connected to the internet or the cloud, nobody cares. People just want to buy devices and be connected to their stuff. It can be a car, it can be a home, it can be whatever that is. So the adoption has grown like crazy. You can see the graph just goes to the left. The more left you go, the more instantaneous you get. And 5G will only increase this phenomena. When we give you a PG&E sensor, if some of you live in California, the PG&E sensors are pretty expensive, but they give it to you for free because they want to see your electric usage and gas usage and solar usage. That has a sensor, and that sensor talks to PG&E every second or every minute. Today, it takes some battery to put that sensor in there. In the future, that battery can last up to 5 years. Those are the transformations that we are trying to think about, that how can we make it cheaper and easier to get to your home so you can get the data quickly and efficiently. And these things will continue to grow, as and when they add value. I can skip that slide. We spoke about that already. That home security and safety was number one for most people. This is an interesting slide. When people ask me in other occasions when we go to meetings that what can 5G enable in home, I get it that you can do a video doorbell without Wi-Fi and 5G can take the packets on video, things like that. But what about other things? And I'll tell you what other things can be. The other things can be a drone inspection and security service, which means that you don't want somebody to infiltrate your house. You want somebody to, come, look around, and go as a security service. Today, people do it manually, which is pretty expensive. The drone inspection and delivery, because wireless operators are getting extra spectrum to run 5G, they can run the drone service to you without any downtime. CBRS is an alliance, different discussion, different times. This is one spectrum that wireless operators will use to license businesses and enterprises. So if you own a Pizza Hut or you own a Burger King, in 5G, you can own your own private wireless network. So you don't have to pay anybody. You can own your own network. And that ownership is based on county level. It goes all the way to county. So as some of you may know, when AT&T, Verizon, and Comcast, they go buy spectrum in wireless in the industry, they buy nationwide. They spend billions of dollars getting spectrum so we can all talk on our phones anywhere in the country. But with CBRS, you as a business can literally buy spectrum for that particular county and license it for a particular time frame and then pay for that, which is very nominal compared to billions of dollars people spend. So it's going to get very, very affordable in 5G. And the advanced wireless gateway, you see it next to it, you can literally get it for free, enable your service. Your employees will talk for free. Your employees will have data for free. And you won't pay a provider, which is a big saving for any company. So those are a few new business models that we believe will change the game in 5G. I also want to talk about, with all these connectivity, the biggest thing that people care about is security. The more connected devices you have in the house, the more vulnerable you are to attacks. If I can get into your Nest doorbell or Ring doorbell, I can literally get into any device in your house because by now I have your Wi-Fi password and stuff like that. How do you protect that? Now, Wi-Fi passwords are easy to hack. Anybody can hack it. I'm telling you, go Wikipedia that. I mean, you can hack a Wi-Fi router in 20 minutes, right? And I can't take names of companies which are already under flux, but they are. 3GPP, which is a standard of wireless, has defined very strong security standards on wireless. So that prohibits you or anybody to attack that particular router or that particular small cell. So you're basically more safe with 5G. And even if somebody attacks that particular router, only one or two pieces of devices will get compromised, and other devices are still unique. In Wi-Fi, if you get in, you compromise all devices in the house. That's pretty much how it works. So we do, as a company, we work from operational security and manage digital identity, which is internal stuff. You don't see it on devices. And then interoperability and threat management and lifecycle. We do these services for all the devices, including the devices you have today. And then, all devices do not talk the same language. Some devices talk Wi-Fi, some devices talk Bluetooth, and there are some other radios you may or may not know of, like Zigbee, Z-Wave, LoRa. It's a low-power technology that people use nowadays. It's unlicensed spectrum. All of these radios will get converged into a standard set of protocols that 5G will enable. That's basically the message of the slide. Bluetooth, a lot of people use Bluetooth, including your AirPods and things like that, but then they can only work in personal devices because you cannot go more than 20 feet. With Wi-Fi, you can go up to 100 feet. With LoRa, you can go up to miles. And with 5G, you can go up to miles as well, but it has much better coverage and much better throughput. So what we are trying to say here is, no matter what you use, 5G is going to ingest it and make it possible for you to roam around or be in the house, and we can switch radios depending on which device you use automatically. This is a particular example for a company that we worked with. One of the companies of the size of Verizon. They basically would like home subscribers like us to get connected devices or for a particular fee. Like if you ask my dad to buy a smart home device, he would have no idea. What is smart home? I just want to enter the house and switch on the light and I'm done. But when I talk to him about security, I talk to him about, how do you get Netflix and Hulu, he's, at that point, he's literally checked out. So basically, if we have provided these services on $10 a month to subscribers, and they were so happy. And most of the subscribers are not millennials. These are, subscribers who've been around, who've seen the technologies, but they don't want to deal with it. So for $10 a month, you can literally launch a service where you can go to the home and install these smartphones, smart devices, smart cameras or whatever that is, and manage that service. That we have seen is growing very rapidly because people need help. People need interoperability help in all these devices. And we have literally reduced cost. So what happens is when you get a problem in the house, somebody comes in a truck in front of the house, they try to fix your cabling or try to fix your Wi-Fi. That's a cost of about $50 to $80 per device, per fix. So now if you can imagine a company like Comcast having 20 million customers, 26 million customers, 10 million customers make that phone call that please come home and fix my Wi-Fi, and that's $80 per phone call and per truck roll, that's 800 million right there. That's a monthly cost of a company running support services, 800 million for just that truck roll. If 5G can do 50% of these things remotely, so people don't have to go to the house, the technician doesn't have to walk all the way to your house and fix your cable, we save in a blink upward of $400 to $500 million a month. That's huge savings if you think about it, right? And we have done that with a few clients. And that's why this slide is important. Before I go through the where can we help, this slide would be interesting to service companies if some of you are within services. The reason why Wi-Fi monitoring and device control is important today, because we have them in our homes, is because we can provide personalized care to people who use that wireless service. And a managed service can know what you're doing, what device you're using. So if you're a subscriber of Comcast, for example, they know how many iPhones you have. They know what you're watching on your TV. They know how many smart devices you have in home. It's not that they are spying on you. but they just know what they are connecting you on, so they can provide you additional devices or some services you may need, maybe security, maybe personalized. I should not say ads, but you still get ads from Google and other companies. But insights of your network, that your network is very vulnerable in the backyard, or your upstairs is secure, but other places are not secure. Please install this or do that. Who will tell you that? There has to be a managed provider who you trust to tell you those things. So we have worked with literally every single operator in North America and Canada to fix these problems. That's why people still pay for Wi-Fi. Otherwise, people just stop paying for Wi-Fi because they feel super unsafe, right? So the potential of delivering higher levels of service is enormous in this industry. And Wi-Fi, when that becomes 5G, all the Wi-Fi operators and all wireless operators will be able to deliver the exact same service because they own the network anyway. So you would rather give control to a managed service provider rather than you take control yourself. So as a company, we do a lot of things within 5G. It's a growing market, start from operators all the way to the businesses. So we develop, a lot of insights. We define key themes. We are at a stage that we are making use cases for the operators worldwide. And what we also do is we also drive the connected home value chain. Because we have worked so much in this industry, and we have worked with almost every OEM, ODM, data management company, and we all have our own data management platform, that we can provide access and enable services within the home. As a company, we can provide you those services. These are a few examples that we have done, with a few cable operators and mobile operators worldwide. I'll just give you one classic example that I like to, talk about. When you go to a game in a stadium, if there are 50,000 seats in a stadium, can anybody guess how many Wi-Fi endpoints that the stadium will have to have all of you connected to Wi-Fi to order beer while sitting on that chair in the stadium? Just guess a number. 50,000 seats, how many access points you need? Wi-Fi access points.
1,000.
Good number. Go ahead. Anybody else? 1,000, you said? Okay, so both of us said 1,000. So we deployed in a stadium of 55,000 people, seats, a few years ago. And that time there was no 4G, good 4G and 5G coverage for Wi-Fi. To get good signal on your device, sitting on your seat, we had to install a Wi-Fi access point after every 10 seats. Every 10 to 15 seats has one Wi-Fi AP. So if you look under your seat, if you go to any stadium, you go to Levi Stadium and check it out, you'll see an AP sitting under the desk, and you'll probably see some APs hanging on top, in the big circle up there. So we had to install almost 10,000 plus APs all around the stadium, and then some macro cells as well, macro sites to support those, those APs. Now, if you think about 5G, that might go down by 1/5. So we don't have to probably need that many, because 5G cells can probably do much better capacity load than a Wi-Fi router. And it's not just about Wi-Fi in the stadium. It's also how can it take all that data and connect to the internet. Now you have like a big chunk of data coming out of the stadium because everybody's connected, literally. So we work with usual cable providers and mobile providers in the country to get that backhaul. Let's call it backhaul in our world. How big your backhaul can be, or how big your pipe can be. So that was a good example where 5G would have been really helpful if it was there 5 years ago.